Hey guys, just want to show you a little trick you can utilize to make your rider or bike have a little more something going on throughout the track, um, and it will stay in relation to where your rider or bike is. So I set up something and I got it working pretty nicely, and I want to just show you what it is. So I added an effect to the back of the bike. So I set it up in a way. Here, we'll show you. I set it up so when you push the trigger down, you either press it or you hold the button. It'll turn on an effect, and when you release the effect or the gas button, it'll turn off. Right? Simple. And so the way to do it is just to set that up. Simple. You go into events, or no, you don't. You go into controller buttons. Over here you can choose which button does what. So you're just gonna take the gas button, R. That's what you want to grab. You want to pull one of those out, and then you can grab your effects, and you can do this with other things besides effects as well. But this is what I'm gonna show you. So I go into the R trigger, and on press you can click this, and on press it goes to the on filter for the on event for the effect, and the same thing on the down. This is holding down. So on pressing the button or on holding down, both these targets are the effect that says on. The one on release is set to the off event of the same effect, and they're both targeted towards my sparks. Okay, so pushing that button is going to turn them on and off, right? But this object is just going to stay where it is. So it's not going to move with you or anything, but it'll do just what you said. It'll do that. But you want it to move with you. You want it to be attached. So I'm basically telling the game that this object is world positioning where the bike is. So how you do that is you need, I have two because I have one. This is a vector object info in the data sources. You go grab one of these, one for positioning, and because I want my effect to move exactly the way my rider's leaning or his bike is per se, I need two. I need one for position, where it is, left to right, and I need one for the angle or where the rider is leaning, back, forward, whatever. So I grab two of these vector object info. I have one set to position. The object is this. Spark fountain, I have one set to angle. Same thing. Oh, they're not set to that. They're set to the bike. I want this attached to the bike, right? Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I don't need this. I don't need that. Get this shit out of the way. Alright. So these are the things you need to make the positioning event happen. You need a interval trigger. I have the interval set to one tick. The event it's going to go through, it's going to impulse to this object positioning event. It's going to impulse through here through another filter, which is the red line again. It's going to go over to here to this event, which is just the two things I want to move. I want position and I want angle. So they're just going to run it through. This object, the objects are just this effect. It's the spark fountain effect. So first is position. I want it to follow the bike wherever it goes throughout the map. So it needs to follow the bike. So you have your position set to. I don't need rotation, so that's off. I just leave the position. But because I'm not going locally, I want to gather information from wherever the biker is. I want to disable local and have it be a global positioning event. Now you take all of your positions of the axis and you take them and you tie them all to the vector, the position of it. You tie them all to the vector object info, so it gathers exactly where the bike is. That's where the bike is, or that's where the effect is. Right? That's where the effect is. Exactly where it is at all times. And you choose the positioning you want this thing at all times by selecting the object. And the object is the bike. Oh, no, I don't want the handlebars. I want the rider. I want the bike. There. I want the bike. So at all times, I just want the bike. The bike is where this data is coming from. This object information is sucking in its position from this source and telling this where to, and telling this where to be. So as you see, I hit select to test the physics. See how it just snaps right to where I have it set. That's my bike. Just snaps right to it. So the same thing you would apply to the next thing. You want another object positioning event, but this one's for something different. You don't need the position on this one because we want the effect to not only go where the rider's going left or right per se, you want it to angle itself to if you're leaning forward or back. So we need an angle. It's the same vector object info, except for right here in type, we switched it, and we're gonna go with angle now, because that's what we're trying to pick up globally. So when those are set, you have your sparks. Doesn't matter where you play around with them, right? Everything's pointing towards your sparks. Sorry, and it snaps right to where you want it. So the way this effect worked, hooking it up to the bike, I couldn't get it to just do an effect per se and just link it that way. So I took a dummy object out. This is it's just a dummy object, which is tools, common, this thing. You just pull one of these out, and then you have your effect or whatever you choose, and I couldn't get it to work another way with gluing them. Gluing them seems to cause a problem for me. I don't know if there's a way around it, but I could group them. So I could click these two things and you can group them together. But before you do that, you can go into each one, just make sure it works. They go to advanced physics and you can change the type, physics type, and you can just put it to decoration only or no contact response. I think both should work. And then you can group them together. That way the game doesn't, they're just decoration, or there's no contact. So it's there, it's doing its thing, but you don't have to worry about it interfering in any way. So that's, and when you group them, that's what you have to do basically first. And then you can take all these things and connect them, because if you group them after, it'll disconnect the object positioning events, and it might disconnect some other stuff. So you want to do that first and get it to where what you want it attached to specifically on the bike. There's numerous parts, and then it should work like you want it to. So let's see. that's just some little fun thing you could do with the game. And you can play around with attaching different effects, different. You could do it with lights, numerous different things. Choice is yours. Have fun, enjoy playing with it. Take a good look at it if you can see it. Believe me, this is new to me. I just figured this out, so I'm pretty excited to share it. So enjoy. I hope you learned something. Um, Feel free to let me know what you think, and have fun. Later, dudes.